Manchester United won. And I don't know where to start. I've watched the game and I've been listening to pundits, commentators saying it's a good point for Man United. They should be pleased. I mean, Leeds are a promoted team, right? Half a season into the Premier League, their promoted side who are still in the bottom 5, 6 teams. I think they're 14th or 15th. And everyone's rejoicing on getting a point for Man United as if, we've just played Arsenal at the Emirates and came away with a point. I mean, what's going on? Sometimes I think I'm living in a complete matrix with agendas, with all sorts of crazy statements being made. I mean, Amorim should be happy with a point away against that Leeds. In what world? Anyway, let's unpack, shall we? It was a pretty boring game. Not boring. Sorry. It was a pretty open game with a lack of quality. I think that's what it was at half time. And the lack of quality continued, from the same people. I think if United had anything of a centre forward, they win this game, Man United. And I'd start from there. Benjamin Sesko, what a waste. What a wasteful performance today. I've not noted anything down. I'm just going by memory, which is pretty bad at the moment. But someone put in a cross from the left. Can't remember if it was Xerxes. Xerxes came on. What a quality substitution. And I called it at half time. It's got to change. Lack of quality. It was just too end-to-end, open. We just didn't have the penetration. The game didn't warrant 3 at the back, 5 defenders, arguably 6 with Dorgu because he's required to defend, track back, etc. It just didn't require that. So out comes Lenny Yoro. In comes Joshua Xerxes. But he made that substitution not at half time, like I suggested, but he made it after we go 1-0 down. So anyway, Xerxes come on, and I think he's put in a near man of the match performance. If he was playing full time, I think he gets the man of the match performance. But quality performance. He comes in, puts in a cross, and this Pillock, Shesko, has literally just got to direct the ball anywhere on target, and he puts it wide. Casemiro puts in a great ball, the outside of the foot, onto Xerxes' head, who is smack bang in the middle of the goalpost. I'll give him that. His positioning is good. If I'm not mistaken, the ball nearly hits the corner flag. And his blushes are saved by the linesman, who waves up for offside. But even that, for a centre forward, that was a terrible... How can you be offside there? You've got ample space, time. Just go back in with the defenders and come back out. He mistimes that as well. And then in the first half, it was wasteful as always, not even showing for the ball. At least in the second half, he did show for the ball. He's just poor finishing. This guy's it's like a rabbit caught in front of the headlights, because I think the price tag is too much. Man United's a step too far. there was a dearth of centre forwards. Granted, Gyökeres was made out to be something he's not. There was Shesko who was made out to be something he's not. I mean, United were even looking at free transfer Calvert-Lewin. In hindsight, we probably should have got him. Just not very many strikers available. Especially if we're going to ostracize Højlund. Is Sesko better than Højlund? No. And haters will hate. They'll talk about all sorts of crap. But I'm not a Højlund fan by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying, he's a world beater or anything like that. But have we got an upgrade really from Sesko? I don't think so. I don't think so. Then we look at Dorgu. Now, Dorgu has had, a great game against Newcastle, and I absolutely salute him for that. But I've had time to think about it, and while the game was excellent, is Dorgu really a number 10 on the right? Not really. But given the space and the time, he can use his strengths and physicality absolutely to effect. And I think today in patches there were. But because we started off with the 5 at the back with this system where Dorgu was again required to help out in defense, double, triple up, because Diego Dalot had a battle in his hands, and I think that Dalot's performance was actually overall, it was all right despite his limitations. I thought Dalot didn't have too bad a game. That was also to do with Dorgu helping him from the front, Yoro helping him from the back. And, we're just having to get 2 to 3 players do the job of one person sometimes. And that's an issue. That's an issue. I'm just trying to... Right. So those are the 2 big issues that I found, were it was right in our faces, for this game, Man United. The system, with sticking with 5 at the back. Once they scored and we changed that system, it was daylight. It was night and days. It was completely different because we started to attack. Of course, Xerxes played his part, and his quality, in that middle really helped. But not just about the player. Sometimes we've got to look about the system, because if it's not Xerxes, it will be Bruno. If it's not Bruno, it will be Mason Mount. Somebody will play that role, but we've got to have players around him. And in a 4-4-2, or with 4 at the back, straight away you've got 1 extra player in that midfield, in that engine. And like I said, I don't want to always go back to what I said at halftime or go back to say what I said in the preview. But Shesko is clearly devoid of quality and secondly confidence. Put a player close to him. It's not all about removing Shesko, put somebody else. I do think towards the end we should have removed Sesko, or maybe remove even somebody else, but we should have brought in Montato to try and win this game, in my opinion. But it wasn't to be. But Shesko needs a player there. It's a very, very tough position to play the number 9 role at Man United on your own. It's a graveyard shift. It's been tough for one and all. Much better players than Shesko. For experienced players than Shesko. It's been super tough doing that graveyard shift. So for a player like Shesko, who's devoid of goals, who's devoid of quality, he's clearly not showing for the goal, put in someone there. And I think when Xerxes came on, he was looking to find Shesko at every time. And it worked. His confidence grew. His finishing was still shit, but he showed up for the ball. It made the difference. Amorim's got to pick up on that. I can't remember the last time we finished a game and we were fresh. I mean, it's not for lack of effort that this Man United team is struggling. Everyone was dead on their feet today. Well, I don't know about everyone, but a lot of the players were dead on their feet. We're having to work really hard and not smart. And I think it resembles the manager. That's from the manager. Jason Carter, 1297. Hi, Jason. Great to have you here. Jason says, Sesko out, Xerxes in. Potentially. Yes. Potentially. But again, I think it's more of a system problem. If Xerxes comes back and we're still playing 5 at the back, it won't make a difference, Jason. It simply won't. Because, and worst of all, Xerxes likes to get involved with the midfield. Xerxes is a number 10. At best, he's not a number 9. Xerxes needs players to run past. He needs an Embuemo or an Ahmad or Dorgu on that right, Acuna on the left, or Mason Mount on the left, and Chesko in the middle. Give Xerxes those options. In my opinion, Xerxes being Dutch, it's a little bit like a Dennis Bergkamp. If you told Dennis Bergkamp to hold that line up top, he just would not be able to on his own. He'll play there, but he thrived on having a Thierry Henry running on the left and a Will Tord on the right, or somebody else. So I think it's a similar situation. Other players I want to touch on before we go on to the player ratings. Other things we want to touch on was the second half overall was better again. We hit the post. Cunha had a great game. I'll say it now. It's probably my man of the match. He was already good in the first half. Had a goal perfectly taken, chalked off for offside. He hit the post in the second half, and it was very apt, very deserving for Cunha to get the goal, the equaliser. Cunha played well. But again, Cunha needs support. He's not got that blistering pace, right? He hasn't got that blistering pace, so he needs runners. And I think when moving forwards, I tell you what, where you're right, Jason, where I would certainly, one piece that I would certainly do is I would take out Chesko. Especially when we get the rest of our players back. Because I think the way we should end the season, we should advance into the season, in my opinion, has to be 4 at the back and Bruno Fernandes playing more advanced. So for me, we have to, one of the people who have to sacrifice is Shesko. It's not working. If we do a 4-3-3 with Casemiro Ugarte or Casemiro Mainu and have Bruno Fernandes in a 10, maybe Xerxes leading the line in a 4-3-3, I think he'll be happier with that because he can dovetail and interchange with Bruno and still have the wide attackers. I think that would be better. Or else do it with Mason Mount, play as a false 9. Cunha on the left, and Embuemo on the right. I think that works. But we've got to find a solution because, for the attack, because Shesko is just, if I'm looking at it critically, the one thing that he does is he holds his position. And he's the only one at Man United who can hold their position. That is important. But what does he do on top of that or after that? He doesn't run the channels well. He's not a good dribbler. And at the moment, he's proving to be a very, very poor finisher. He doesn't hit the target. So I think he's got to come off the firing line. I'm not writing him off entirely for Man United. I think he's being such a young player, I think it's very tough and harsh on him to be written off. Just like it was very tough and harsh to write Hoyland off. And look, he's doing well at Napoli. Right? So he's just got to come off the firing line. We've got to have Bruno in there, Mbeumo, Mason Mount, and Cunha. I think those should be the four attackers. And then we've got two midfielders. Casemiro's been super solid in midfield. He's had another good game this game. Ugarte has not really made mistakes. I think he's not the player who will unlock a defense. He's not the player who will score a goal. Today he had a great chance and he blazed it wide. He wasn't the player that we want to be running onto that. It would be great to have Kobe Mainu come in and try and do a job alongside Casemiro. But otherwise, I think Ugarte has been doing fine. I think him and Casemiro complement each other. Casemiro has to be the more kind of the one with the ball. Ugarte has been coming in and grinding and winning the ball back. He's done that again well today against Leeds, so I don't want to criticize him. On the left, Luke Shaw has been playing well. We've just got to find that solve that conundrum on the right. But I think with Dalot, if he's not asked to attack so much and to go up and down, cross field for those long throw-ins, then I think we'll be able to get more out of Diego Dalot as well. All right, we've got a comment. The best club is Manchester United. Manchester United. All right. Estegod Z, thank you very much for your comment there. Hello to you too. Okay, let's get into the player ratings. We've got a big day of football. I think we've got 6 matches, with the last one culminating in Chelsea taking on Man City. I think that would be a great game, great watch. For me, I'll be pulling down my decorations today, so I'll definitely be having the game on. I might even do a short piece on it. Depends how I feel. But overall, a disappointing scoreline for Man United. What's this now? What's our form? Can't remember when's the last game that we won. So it's a disappointing scoreline, and yet people are making it out to be something good. I don't know what's with the pundits, what's with commentators at the moment. It's baffling, super weird. Our last few results, we've drawn away to Leeds, drawn at home to Wolves, won at Newcastle, which was fantastic, brilliant. But I wasn't entirely happy with the performance, not of the manager, not of the players. And then before Newcastle, we lost against Aston Villa. We drew 4-4 against Bournemouth. 4-4 against Bournemouth. These are our 5 last matches, guys. We've got 3 draws, 1 win and 1 defeat. 3 draws, 1 win and 1 defeat. So 6 points from a possible 15. That's what we've taken. Oh, And if we extend that, we then won against Wolves, but then we drew against West Ham. So in our last 7 matches in the month of December, we've only won 2 matches. And if we go back again before that,